Practice of meditation. Do jap to your heart's content. Jap is yog. सभी रसायन हम करी नहीं राम सम कोई किंचित घट में प्रसरे तो कंचन समतन होई. Meaning, there is no medicine as effective as the name of God. If a drop gets into the body, it shines like gold. Don't let the life be wasted. Before birth, all this was not there, nor will it remain after our death. Then what is it after all? Nothing. One should get engaged into the practice in the right earnest. These words are not simply for saying or hearing, but for bringing into practice. However much you read or write, but without experiencing yourself, all is useless. Spiritual experience leads to the real truth. Other than Maya and in likeness of the Ishvara, I am the Jeev, that is soul. I am neither Maya nor the Ishwar. Maya puts into bondage and Ishwar gives moksha, that is release from the bondage. If the spiritual ideal is devoid of omniscience and omnipresence, then it is not ideal. There is no one-sidedness in the meaning of the name of God. Otherwise, it will be reduced to the state of the Jeev. He is all-powerful. He is present in every being and not present also. He is manifested and unmanifested also, and separate from both. A person whose mind is steady, he only can do something. The path of spirituality is a path of losing oneself. He who has got a taste of it will not be able to leave it. What is required is regular practice and non-attachment. Without constant spiritual practice, best suited to the individual, non-attachment will not develop. It will not last. Reverence and faith in such sadhana is of sattvic nature. If, by the grace of God, this sattvic faith remains steady, then success will come. In meditation, the mind is concentrated on two places, in the heart or in the space between the eyebrows. Keep the mind steady at any one place, maintaining one-pointedness. In meditation, attention should be on the form meditated upon and not on the person meditating. I am meditating. This memory should not be there. Let the mind become one with the form of meditation. So long as the idea of the meditator is there, no seed mantra, that is Ram, Om, or the divine light will be present. Lessen your outward activities and exertions. Don't observe fasting too much. Otherwise, the body will be weakened and there will be no interest in meditation. Do not express your feelings in the least. At any time, or at any place. Do not tell your experiences or visions to anyone. First of all, try to merge yourself in God. On repeated efforts, He will come face to face and merge Himself within you. Yes, yes, very truly, He will do so and He does so. God is ever ready. You have to be ready first to receive His grace. Let the mind travel far and wide in search of God, where there is neither the current of air nor the sun ever rises, until we have taken refuge of none else but God and have offered ourselves totally to Him. We do not have the right to say that the God takes care of all our needs. As per His vows, Yogaksемam Vahamyaham, as said by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. The first way towards self advancement is never pamper your ego. The I-ness, that is aham, it should not be allowed to rise because you do not exist at all. So long as memory is there, do not give up noble deeds. The truth that is to be known, by which everything else is known, that is the real truth. When all heat of the behavior and wealth and etc. is destroyed, one remains happy always. October November 1957, Mandsaur camp at different venues. Be careful that a single moment of life is not wasted. Pray to your heart's content. Finding the shade of a tree, people of all types collect there. Do not think of what others are doing or not doing. Without looking at anyone, do your spiritual practices with firmness. Awakening comes from a single word. Daduji, a devotee of God, used to go to a saint. His relatives were worried lest he became a sadhu. They went to the Mahatma, gave him some money, and asked him to go on a pilgrimage. The saint took the money and, going a little distance, spent the money in feeding people. In the meantime, the parents of Daduji arranged for his marriage. The marriage party passed by the hill where the saint was staying. Seeing Daduji, who was known as Rajab at that time, he cried out, "O Rajab, you have done wonder, putting on your head the ceremonial crown, leaving aside the Supreme Brahman, going to enjoy the world." Hearing the words, Rajabji came to his senses and immediately ran away from the marriage procession. A similar incident happened to Samarth Ramdasji when he, at the time of his marriage ceremony, heard the priest utter the words, "Take care." He ran away in dismay, leaving the ceremonial place. Later he became Saint Ramdas. If a person has the fitness, then awakening comes suddenly from a single word of caution. The brilliant needs a single knock only. At Sironj, January 1958. Your life is excellent, but be careful that your mind is free from egoism, for that spiritual strength should be developed. Steps for developing spiritual strength are as follows: speaking truth, not to tell lies in the least, love for all living beings, endurance, fearlessness, non-violence. When we have no malice, that is, desire to harm others in our mind, we become fearless from all. Contentment, to be satisfied with whatever we get. Let there be no desire in the mind. Self respect, not tolerating a false insult. Tell what is true in self defense, otherwise, it will be an insult to one's prestige. Do not receive gifts. Do not possess more than one's needs. Do not interfere with others' affairs. Do not be vociferous. If yes or no suffices, do not argue. Do not give advice to others. At Jagdalpur, March 1958. Birth itself is death. I consider myself dead only. A man dies as soon as he takes birth. Who has taken birth? Will he not die? Then why do you fear? This is to disbelieve God. Why do you consider death so horrifying? This is illusion. If you don't wish to die, then practice yoga, practice pranayam. Perfection in yoga leads to God realization. God is without form as well as with form, and at the same time different from with form or formless. At Sujalpur, from 26th July to 15th August 1958. The sadhana we are practicing should not be changed by confusion with other satsang. As soon as surrender weakens, egoism occupies the mind. When there is self surrender, God never leaves us. Mama Pan Sharnagat Bhaihari. Verbal surrendering has no value. While doing jap, if the mind is conscious of the inner meaning of the mantra, then it has no time for other thoughts. Even with self surrendering and meditation, one has to do jap. Don't put yourself in the position of a doer. Chant the names of God for some time. All methods lead to liberation. Study of the scriptures always bring consolation. One should study religious books. One should read with the only motive of liberation. This is my opinion about religious study. When you find any difficulty, meditate on Shri Gurudev. Do hard labor. At the beginning, meditate on the form of Shri Gurudev. Grace of the Guru is not an ordinary thing. Grace of the Guru is the only support. That only can lead you to divine bliss. A householder is also a guru when detached from the world. In fitness for religious practices, there is steadiness. If the Guru wants, he may make a person fit for receiving his grace. It is in the Guru's hands. But first of all, the mind should be purified. Without it, nothing happens. In God realization, even sharp intellect is of no use. Don't relinquish the attitude of self surrender. Sing hymns of God. Live in a place where you are not disturbed by anyone. Nishtha, steady devotion. 27 July 1958. In the beginning, in the end, and in the middle, only Ram was with us and will remain with us. Have steady devotion in him. For an excellent man, asman mahi an purush jaganahi. In the mind of such a man of integrity, there is no place for any other person. Without nishtha, a man has to wander here and there. Nishtha should be so firm that you feel there is someone to take care of you. Then fearlessness comes. वेद सुने शास्त्र सुने और रामायण कियो पाठ बनादास निष्ठा बिना मन हो बारावाट. I have learnt holy books like the Vedas, Shastras, and Ramayana, etc., thoroughly, but without nishtha, that is, firm faith in them, the mind is still confused, says Banadas. When there is nishtha, that is, single minded devotion for God, we will have no doubts in our mind. I am not far from Him, He is very near to me. Such feelings come without any effort. When spiritual practices are done properly, with full faith in the words of the Guru, we have divine feelings. The more we are introspective, the nearer we will be to God. That proximity to God and introspection are simultaneous. Let not this conviction go. 28th July 1958. Service should be done without attachment or aversion. Never be overpowered by pride and delusion. We have to clean our own house, that is the mind. From this, we get evenness of the mind. Whether you believe in God or not, doing good deeds or other welfare work will help us in both circumstances. Those who are engaged in good actions will get peace of mind in this world. And if there be a world hereafter, there also they will certainly reap the fruits of their benevolent actions. The controller of the universe is that Ishwar. We should always do spiritual practice so that we develop natural and filial love for our Supreme God. Human body is meant for this purpose. If it is not done now, then it will never be done. He is the deserving person. He is a man of knowledge who always takes refuge in God and worships Him. Strong or the weak, both are affected by anger. The strong retaliates and the weak suffers the insult silently. The anger of the weak takes the form of humility. By worshipping God, egoism and anger are slowly suppressed. Suppression means forgiving the culprit, knowing that he is fit for pity. When someone keeps ill will against him, the sadhak should think that the poor fellow is ignorant and should be forgiven. Our time should not be wasted in useless arguments. Time which passes never returns. To get some peace in our life, we should do at least this much. God is always inspiring us. Due to ignorance, we do not pay attention and stumble as a result. Be deserving for God realization. Let us make ourselves fit for worshipping God. Divine qualities should be acquired first, otherwise, the receptacle will get spoiled. Pray to God. Make us deserving for your grace, O God. Let us be of Ram and pray for an hour or two and extend the duration gradually. Our feelings should be for giving happiness to all living beings. The feeling should rise in our hearts that the God is with us and longingly pray we can claim our inheritance. Then we must prove ourselves to be deserving to claim his spiritual property. If the receptacle is ready to receive, someone or other throws in a bit, shows the path to receive God's grace. 30th July 1958. Fix your way of sadhana. Name and fame is as detestable as pig's excrement. In spite of getting human life, holy company is difficult to obtain. By human efforts, one may earn money, but when there is grace of God, only then we may get holy company. Sacrifice means non attachment. Let there be no attachment for anything. Death is always attached with the body. Our thoughts should be pure. By listening to scriptures, they are purified. The aspirant should purify the mind first, then only the sadhana of Nam Jap will be possible. The aspirant should choose a definite path of sadhana very carefully for himself. There are three paths for God realization. 1. Karma Kand, that is, doing one's duty without desiring the fruits. Second, Vedanta, that is, studying religious scriptures. The third is Upasana, that is, spiritual practice. Without reverence and devotion, knowledge cannot be acquired. Unless the mind is pure, knowledge cannot be gained. First of all, select a path of sadhana, then you should follow that path with firmness. The path shown by the Guru should be followed steadily. After selecting a path for yourself, don't leave it in the midway, but complete it up to the end. The first step in sadhana is to follow the path shown by the Guru with full faith and steadiness. The teacher should be Nirlop Data Bhaishokhari, a person who is free from greed, who gives advice to the disciple without any motive of gain, and who removes fear, sorrow, etc. from the mind of the disciple. We should take advice on the spiritual path from such a person, approaching whom our mind becomes calm, peaceful, and reverential. We should take instructions from such a person. The more our devotion increases, the more we shall go forward. If we do not get peace on the path shown to us, then we should know our defects from the teacher and correct them accordingly. Parvati Khimji ka Jai Siya Ram.